Hey, what's going on? Nightwing here, and today we're going to be talking about the Fatal Fury City of the Wolves second beta. So, before I start the video, I want to preface this by saying that I was supposed to get this video out like a couple days after the beta was over, but then so much stuff happened in the past couple of days with the DLC and also some personal stuff on my end. I'm like, okay, shoot, I'm going to have to upload this video later, so real sorry about that, guys. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about with this second beta, and I definitely want to touch over the recent the recent guest characters. I don't normally want to talk about like fighting game news in general on this channel, but I feel like this is something that's really important that we gotta talk about when it comes to the future of this game. So without further ado, let's get into how I felt about the beta. So I played the beta all 4 days. The first day was actually surprisingly really good in the morning, that is. I was getting matchmaking every 20 seconds. The connection was pretty solid. But then I play in the, around noon after coming back from school, and I noticed that I wasn't getting any matches at all. So I go hit up the UCLA FGC, and I'm like, hey, let's do some room matches. And I'm trying to put in the code. People are trying to put in the code for my room or their rooms that I try to join, and nothing doing. I'm not getting anything. Nothing is working. I ended up playing matches through friend codes, through like friend requests that night, which was a little unfortunate. And let me tell you, finding friends in this game is hell. Like what do you have to go through to like get friend codes and stuff is like, it's absolutely atrocious. So the first day I wasn't feeling it. It was probably the worst feeling like day I've had over the past 2 betas. But thankfully, in the second day and the third day and the fourth day, things improved, and SNK also put out a post saying, hey, we were like doing something with the servers, or we were like trying to reload it or something, so sorry, matchmaking might not be good in the first day, which is, it's all fine and good. This is a beta. And when the matchmaking worked, it worked pretty well. I would say overall I got much faster matches compared to the first beta, especially on PlayStation. On PlayStation, 20 seconds without a doubt. It was 20 seconds, never had to wait too long. It felt really nice, and connection itself was really good. On PC, unfortunately, it was definitely a little bit longer, but we're talking a minute, maybe less than a minute for North America servers. But one thing I realized is if you put your servers to South America, I was getting matches around like the 40-50 second mark. So overall, I think for a launch product, City of the Wolves is in the clear. I think if this game doesn't do too well, it's not going to be because of matchmaking. I think SNK has, for the most part, fits matchmaking. Obviously, it's not Street Fighter 6 levels, but it is pretty okay in my book for a launch product. And I hope that SNK continues to improve on the matchmaking when launch comes out. But you never know. We still have, what, 2 weeks? Maybe 3 weeks? No, I think it's like 2. Maybe like 2.5 weeks until release, so it could definitely improve even more, which would be really nice. So that was how I felt about the online aspect. Again, the online, like actually playing the match, connection was pretty good. I never had any jittering or stuttering. I couldn't really feel any rollback frames, rolling back. It was pretty good overall. Another couple of awesome stuff about this beta is that we finally got training mode, and we finally got Tizoc, the GOAT. I love Tizoc, probably one of my favorite fighting game wrestler kind of, grappler archetypes in like ever. So that was really cool to check him out and play him. And overall, the training mode itself was pretty well done. I wouldn't say it's as robust as Street Fighter 6's training mode, but I feel like it is really good, and that it is more than serviceable for the game. There's a lot of good options you can do in there. I didn't have too much of a difficult time navigating the training mode menu and trying to get things to work out. So overall, I would say training mode is, for the most part, good to go. I just like to see it get to the level of Street Fighter 6. And Tizoc, oh my god, or Tizoc, whatever people are saying. Jesus, man, this guy is a monster. Now, I wouldn't call him S tier. I think you could make an argument for low A, you could, but he definitely seems like a high mid-tier, and the biggest reason for that is his OTG glitch. I believe it is a glitch. It is nasty, dude. Oh my lord, it is just unbelievably nasty. You can, like, what? You can do on a good punish or something, you can do like 60 to 70% of somebody's health. It is absolutely insane. And I really hope, I personally think that SNK should keep it, you know, just maybe lower the damage scaling for that particular glitch, because it would suck if it was removed, because Tizoc is one of the few grapplers in fighting games that actually is like pretty solid, and I want to see more Tizoc action. So I do hope he gets nerfed a little bit on that, but overall Tizoc is really good. He has some good normals. Unfortunately, his grab range, it's bad. It's unbelievably bad. So yeah, Tizoc definitely a standout character to be sure in the beta. I had a lot of fun with him. It was really fun. Overall, my feelings about this beta is pretty good. I think SNK has a good product on their hands. I think this game is going to be really successful in terms of the FGC. But with that said, I do now want to touch on the recent character choices that SNK has made. Because if you guys don't know, we got the athlete, Ronaldo, and some European DJ, his name is like Salvatore, like that's his stage name, like Salvatore Gianchi or something like that. I could be getting that wrong. And wow, a lot of people have been talking about it. A lot of people are mad. Some people don't care. Other people actually like both inclusions. It's absolutely nuts. So I just want to give my 2 cents and talk about how it might affect the game. So let's talk about Ronaldo first. Ronaldo, it's pretty obvious why SNK would put Ronaldo, right? I mean, he's the biggest athlete ever. I think he's like number 3 on Instagram for most followers, and he's probably like the number 1 most followed athlete on Insta. And apparently, I could be wrong, but Taylor Swift has like 200 million followers, and he has like 600 something million followers. So I mean, if you're SNK and you're given an opportunity to put Ronaldo in, of course you're gonna take it, right? I totally get why SNK would put Ronaldo. His name alone guarantees that this game sells a decent chunk more than KOF 15, which I know sounds crazy, right? I know that sounds absolutely nuts, but it is definitely possible. But with that said, a lot of people don't feel comfortable playing him or the game because of his allegations. And this is something that I completely understand. If you don't feel comfortable playing this game or playing Ronaldo because of the allegations, I just want to say there is nothing wrong with that. That decision should be yours and yours only. I personally can separate the real, like, you know, reality, the real world, real life from a video game, but some people can't make that distinction, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's definitely what I think about Ronaldo. Overall, I would say as a roster inclusion, of course I would like to have an SNK character, right? Of course I'd like to have, like, imagine if we get freaking Rich Stoat, I think his name was, you know, the Native American boxer. I'd much rather take him over Ronaldo, like, any day. But to be fair, it definitely would help out the game. But of course, in terms of roster, I don't necessarily think I would love Ronaldo in. I don't really have any feelings towards the guy. He's just a soccer. I'm not really into soccer. So I think it is, in terms of roster, a bit of a shame. But overall, I don't think it's a bad thing for the game. And I don't think it's what's going to kill the game. And that also goes for Salvatore, the European DJ. Dude, I don't even know. Look, what was SNK thinking? Look. Okay, to be fair, I don't dislike the guy, right? I don't dislike the guy, and I'm gonna be honest, in terms of, like, from what I've been hearing about him, I'm gonna put some footage on screen, but apparently he is a big, like, SNK pop culture fan. He's like commissioned a full-blown anime music video. He wears KOF t-shirts to his concert. Like, that's kind of gas, okay? That's kind of gas, not gonna lie. But obviously, I mean, why? Just why? It's not like with Ronaldo where everybody's like, okay, this guy is massively popular, of course SNK would put him in the game. This dude, like, don't get me wrong, he has a following and all that good stuff, but I mean, compared to like even like Daft Punk, man, like, this guy, don't get me wrong, he has a following, but I don't think it's justifiable to have him as a character slot in this game. I really don't think it's justifiable. But the good news is that, you know, he looks fun, kinda. I mean, you can tell he's very joke character-y, that this is giving off a lot of joke character vibes. I don't really think he's gonna be that strong in the tier list. I don't think he's gonna be played that often competitively unless there's something really broken about him. He definitely does give up like that Dan energy, which I will admit I do miss in fighting games, so I do like that aspect. But overall, his inclusion with Ronaldo having 2 real-life guest characters come into this video game world, it definitely is a little odd. And the fact that SNK announced both of them at nearly a week apart from each other, it really did build animosity toward fighting game fans. And I completely get why people are like, what? Why are you announcing 2 at the same time? And God, dude, it's absolutely nuts, man. It's so nuts. Oh yeah, I should also mention how I think they play and what I think about their play style. I think Ronaldo looks pretty fun. I know some people don't love how he plays, but I think there is some sauce going on for Ronaldo, to be sure. I think it's just really cool to see a fighting player, you know, what's it called in soccer, where you and a guy are after the ball and he's trying to take the ball, but you're you know, swinging it around from him, and you're dribbling around from it. That's really cool. You know how SNK was doing that. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. There's a term for it in soccer. So I think that was cool. I think he does some cool air stuff. His supers are pretty decent. They're nothing crazy, but I don't dislike them or anything. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is that he's going to be a stance character, which is absolutely nuts that the fighting game character that's probably going to bring in the most non-fighting game fans is a stance character. Can you imagine somebody never playing a fighting game and they're going to have to play a stance character because that's their favorite guy? That's so funny. I don't necessarily think that's the best idea for Ronaldo, but we're going to see how he plays out. It could end up working in his favor, and of course there is smart style for the new people. So I think Ronaldo, in terms of how he plays, I don't hate it. I don't love it, right? But to be fair, it's I think for a soccer player, it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid set of tools that Ronaldo's got. And then Salvatore, I don't even know what's going on with him. I don't know what, the guy is flying for some reason. What is this, an anime fighter? And he's, I don't even know what to, I just don't know. I mean, he looks fun. He looks fun. You can tell that he's very much a joke character, right? His moveset does seem really jokey. But this is definitely one of the characters I think is a pretty big wasted slot. Even if I do think Salvatore is at least, even though I respect him because of his SNK love and, you know, the cool pop culture stuff he does. But yeah, his playstyle, his tools is very jokey. I don't think we saw projectile. I could be wrong about that. So he definitely doesn't seem to be that high on the tier list. And overall, I don't think he's going to be that big of a detriment to the game's meta. And speaking of which, I should probably just mention right now that I don't think Ronaldo and Salvatore are gonna ruin this game. I don't think that City of the Wolves is ruined because of these 2 characters' inclusion. I definitely think it's a blemish for sure, but to be fair, and this is something that I want to talk about, the roster in this game, even with those 2 included, I'm gonna be honest, I think it's pretty damn good. You have, I believe, we have 11 out of the 14 Mark LeWolf's characters as of the recording of this video, which is really freaking good, because if you compare other fighting games, from Street Fighter 2 to Street Fighter Alpha, or Street Fighter Alpha to Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and Third Strike to Street Fighter 4, the percentage of characters that came from the previous game is not even hitting the half mark, the 50% mark. But from City of the Wolves, from Mark LeWolf's to City of the Wolves, we're seeing 11, if you include Vox. I forgot to mention that. If you include Vox as Grant, which I will, because his moveset is almost 1-to-1, almost, right? You have 11 out of the 14 characters from Mark LeWolf's in City of the Wolves. And also should mention that we're getting Season 1 DLC for free, and it's gonna have Fatal Fury staples such as Andy and Joe, Street Fighter characters Ken and Chun-Li, and Mr. Big from Art of Fighting. So I feel like both guest characters can't really bring down the game's roster that dramatically because we're getting such great characters and inclusions as it is already. So because of that, I think the game is going to be fine. I think the game is in a good spot as it is right now. Of course, again, I don't love the guest characters, but I've accepted it at this point. I definitely think that City of the Wolves is one of those very few special games that just looks so distinctly beautiful and has a great soundtrack and plays like a dream. So I'm definitely going to be playing it a lot on this channel because I think it deserves a pretty big spotlight. This could end up being my favorite modern fighting game of all time. I think SNK has something really special on their hands here. Let's just hope that they can keep the momentum forward and stop including guest characters, because I feel like they are really close to breaking the straw on the back. If they weren't close before with Ronaldo, now they're really close to breaking the camel's back with the European DJ. So we're gonna see how that plays out. But until then, this is Nightwing the Best Robin signing off.